welcome back. Yes, the shorter version is abridged. Well, David, if there's one thing that's not happening tonight, it's not abridged. We have the full grand final.
We do.
And if there's one thing that a full grand finalist needs, it's the energy to keep going.
It's that magical word, stamina, which is the reason I chose it tonight, not just for the grand final, but also one of my favourite stories of words behind words. It all gets down to a Latin word, stamen, which is meaning thread. And why the male part of the flower is because it resembles an upright piece of cord. So that's the stamen in a flower. But it's also where we get the word stamina. And the link here harks back to 3 Greek sisters. And these sisters were known as the Moirai, which literally means the measurers or the apportioners. And the first sister was called Clotho. And she was the one responsible for spinning the thread from the spindle. Then there was Lachesis, and Lachesis was the one who measured the thread, bearing in mind this was the thread of your life, the fatal thread, the thread that determines the length of your life and the course of your life. And then there was the third sister, and her name was Atropos, which literally means unturning. Whatever fate was predetermined was the fate that your life would observe. So there was no turning from the path that was your destiny. So it literally means, another way of thinking of it is inevitable. And of course, Atropos was the sister responsible for that fatal snip, that where your life will end. So that is why we have stamina as being a word meaning endurance and staying power, because it is all about that thread and how long you can last along the course of life. And it's also be fascinating to see what the fates will determine here tonight between Matthew and Tony.
Well, it's a very powerful image and a fascinating backstory as well. Thank you, David.
Pleasure.
Let's have a look at those scores. Tony on 17, Matthew on 24. And we're heading for some more letters, first of all. With Matthew, you to choose them.
A vowel, please, to start with, Lily.
Thanks, Matthew. E.
And another vowel, please.
I.
And another one, please.
O.
A consonant, please.
T.
And another consonant, please.
L.
And let's go mad and have another one.
C.
Another consonant, please.
F.
And a vowel, please.
E.
And a consonant, please.
And lastly, T.
And here's the clock. Well, Matthew, you said you'd gone mad with the consonants. I hope you haven't gone too mad.
I didn't go mad with the words. I got 6, Richard.
6 for you, Tony.
I had a 6 as well.
Let's start with yours, please.
A bit of an unpleasant word, toilet.
Toilet, necessary. What about you, Matthew?
Fettle.
Fettle. Now, that's a nice sounding word, isn't it?
It is a lovely word. I thought we were in for a dual flush there with 2 toilets. And fettle, it's state or condition, as in being in fine fettle, but also to remove the roughness from floors. It's a metallurgy term, to fettle, and both obviously fine for 6. And the word that I found here, and I did need the dictionary to check whether it was actually 2 words or 1, is ice flow.
Oh, very interesting, and a great word from you, David, but 6 very solid points from both Tony and Matthew. More letters now in this grand final game, and Tony, your choice again.
Lily, I'll start with a consonant, please.
Thanks, Tony. Y.
Oh, and another.
S.
And a third, please.
D.
One more.
R.
Switch now to vowel, please.
O.
Another vowel.
A.
Back to a consonant, please.
G.
Another consonant, please.
N.
And I'll end with a vowel, please.
And last letter, O.
Thanks, Lily. I'll start the clock. Tony, what did that yield for you?
I have a 7.
And Matthew?
I have a 7 as well.
Let's start with you, Matthew.
Organdy.
And Tony?
Dragons.
Both interesting words, David. Is organdy a type of cloth?
I think it is. Organdy, O-R-G-A-N-D-I-E, ends in die, also ends with a Y. Well done, Matthew.
Oh, the suspense was very cruel there for a moment. You can have words with David after the show.
Dragons, of course, is fine. And if you put an O in dragons, you get dragoons, who were the cavalrymen that also coerced and enlisted soldiers. So it actually applies as a verb as well.
Nice word, David, but good scoring from both Tony and Matthew. 7 points each, and that means there is only 7 between them. Tony on 30, Matthew 37. It really has been incredibly tight because apart from the first game, Matthew and Tony have matched each other's scores in every round. Let's see what happens in this one as, Matthew, you choose some numbers.
Lily, it's my favourite, it's your favourite. It's 2 large and 4 small, please.
Thanks, Matthew. 2 large and 4 small. And starting with the smalls. 9, 10, 3, 6. The 2 large, 125. The target number is 742.
Thank you, Lily. 30 seconds to get there. Matthew, how did you go?
741, Richard.
Just 1 off the target. Tony?
I got the same, 741.
741. OK, let's start with your explanation, please, Matthew.
Lily, 25 times 3 is 75.
25 by 3 is 75.
Multiply that by 10 to get 750.
By 10 is 750.
And if you subtract 9 from that, you get 741.
741.
So, very nice method, Matthew. 1 off the target. Tony, did you do it the same way?
No, I had a little bit different. I had 100 minus the 25 is 75.
100 minus 25 is 75.
Multiply by the 10, 750.
By 10 is 750.
And then I subtracted the 9.
Minus the 9. 741.
So, well done, Tony, as well. 2 interesting approaches to getting to the 750, Lily. How did you go with this one?
Richard, this was the classic factorial method. 7 sixes make 42, so 100 plus 6 times 10 minus 3, which is 7, gives you 742.
Beautifully done, and another triumph for the factorial method. But well done to Tony and Matthew. They've scored 7 points each, so they're still round for round scoring the same, and that means that we are on 37 for Tony, 44 for Matthew, as we head for our next break. Another word mix for you, it's moan chip. The clue this time, we'll have one of these tonight. See you later.